evening, everyone,
Hey-o!
and welcome to the Funbox Monster Podcast. My name is Tristan.
I am Matt Awkward.
And tonight we are going to be talking about 1985's The Lift.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
An import from the Netherlands.
It's pretty cool.
It's
a thing.
It is a notoriously boring movie. I feel like everyone who knows about this movie regards it as a fairly dull flick.
I feel it has some very neat moments.
Absolutely.
But for the majority of it, and I don't know if it's the actual script or just the dub version that we watched.
Definitely the dub is hurting the hell out
But
of it.
it feels like everybody's conversation is just small talk left and right that
Yes.
doesn't matter.
I agree.
And I'm like, is this just poorly translated or is this the actual script? Because like we just
No,
have a
it's-
guy
it's-
and it's just like, oh man, I got salami sandwiches again. It's like up. It's like, okay,
honestly,
that's it.
looking at the context of all of the scenes, it's like a dude looking at a salami sandwich saying, "Oh, I got a salami sandwich."
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that real nonsense is like, I think this all fits together pretty well.
But it's like the whole script is made up mostly of those kind of things. Like there's definitely parts where,
Sure.
you know, when we go
Sure.
to the professor there and he talks about chips, which I had to count. He says the word chips 22 times in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Chips. The computer chips are being designed at chips at micro level chips.
There's so much. There's so much in those scenes.
So it's
that
like
are
you hear
nuts.
that stuff, but there's so much just small talk left and right,
Yeah.
or things that don't go
And
anywhere.
crosstalk. Speaking of like us podcasting, there's a lot of crosstalk. There's a lot of people talking and someone else talking at the same time, and you're just like, am I supposed to be paying attention to this conversation that these people are talking about chickens, or am I supposed to be paying attention to the waiters talking about how much they suck? The answer is it doesn't matter. You can pay attention to any of them.
You don't need any
of
of it.
Same information. Yeah, it's not. The movie is thin, but the parts of it that are the way that it's crafted is smart. It looks good.
It does look good.
Lighting is really cool. Some of the sets are really cool.
I like the music.
The music is great. I love the music. I can't believe they wanted to fire the director over the music. That is insane. This is like one of the best soundtracks for one of these kind of movies. Absolutely love it. I feel like it was too sparse. I would have liked more of the soundtrack. I feel like they just kind of, like the director or the producer hated it so much that they were like, no, we're just going to pull it down here. No, pull it down here. Pull it down here. And it's awesome every time it's in the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Agreed.
And I mean, there is a great movie in here, is what I will say.
Yes,
that like,
and he redeemed himself years down the road when he remade his own movie called The Shaft, which we are also going to cover on here, I believe, next week.
okay, maybe. Sure, why not?
I'm gonna sell it.
If you already said it, then we're gonna do it. If you've got some sort of digital version that I can watch, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip the tape because for some reason The Shaft is not streaming anywhere. It's hard to find anyway because you're just gonna pop up all the Shaft movies.
Pop up
but
the
when
Shaft
you finally
movies.
find it, you can't. It's not on YouTube. You can't rent it. You can't stream it. It's not anywhere.
Yep.
It's not even on Tubi, and they got like everything.
They've got every garbage movie ever made. Yeah.
But yeah, The Shaft, he kind of took this. It's the same. It is a remake.
Yep.
But he's made it more wild and loony and embraced its bonkersness more. So it's like not a scene-by-scene remake by any means, but the same concept. And it's just a lot more fun.
That's cool. Here's the thing about this movie. Normally, I'm all for making movies goofier, especially when they're kind of...
Wub.
The Wraith just went by, apparently. Jesus Christ, what was that crazy space engine he had in there? Anyway, but this movie, I honestly kind of wanted to see it go more into a hard 70s sci-fi or like a dark Lovecraftian or, like some sort of weird...
It really half-assed it at the end point.
There were so I like in my notes are actually shockingly long for this movie.
How?
Because I'm constantly being like, oh my God, wouldn't it be cool to do this here?
Oh, okay.
Like I've got so many of those things in here, but I've got like I think this is the most notes I've written for one of these podcasts.
Fucking freak.
I know, it's really strange. But also because it's also kind of a nothing movie when you break it down.
Oh yeah.
It feels like a Stephen King short from like a short story from
like Night Shift.
Night Shift. Like one of the ones that's like just a like before he really started getting into the swing of things, and it was one of his like one note like, look, it's a this and it does this. And it's like, oh, and then it ends. Okay, cool. It's a guy, he eats himself. That was in Skeleton Crew. But like it's like a one concept horror story.
Yep.
And this is like, what if a lift was evil? What if this elevator murdered people? Which is not enough to support a story, but there are so many places where you could go, and they constantly tease it. They constantly get right to the point where they're like, what is this corporation? And it's like, yes, what is the corporation?
We need that final scene like in Remote Control where they find the tape duplication factory. They find the secret elevator, druids that are doing the weird shit.
The ending of Halloween 3.
Exactly. We needed that Stonehenge room.
It.
Yes.
The fact that it ends with the thing not dead.
Then just like, fuck
and then
it.
They're like, I guess we're taking the stairs.
Out of here.
If literally his last line in this movie was, fuck it, I guess I'm taking the stairs.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That would have worked.
That's the only way I would forgive this.
Yes.
Like, okay, if it's going to be for a joke, I'll give you that. But anyway, let's talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So the opening scene is a lot of what we're going to get in this movie, which is basically these drunk couples. Well, they're not even couples. It's two drunk farmers and their hired escorts.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's two chicken farmers who've hired prostitutes.
Oh, I thought it was just all friends and girlfriends and whatever.
So at a certain point, I thought that, but then they didn't know anything about the business that they were doing. They didn't know, like they were like, you know what? Oh, you have chickens? Like there were so many moments where they didn't know anything about anything they were doing.
That totally clears up my nudity question too. I was just like, these people don't seem like the people that would just get naked in an elevator. But now but they're
sex workers, so it was like And I mean, they are definitely dressed in 80s shorthand for sex workers. That is like 100%. Like they're basically wearing what Jamie Lee Curtis was in Trading Places.
Gotcha.
It's that kind of outfit. Anyway, we established that they're chicken tycoons for no reason other than to make a cock joke. So I can only imagine that this translation is probably pretty free and loose. They were just like, oh wait, did you know that chicken and cock are the same word? I've got a great idea for some dialogue here. And so that was what they did. They talk about giant omelets and whatever. It's so stupid.
It's so stupid.
And my favorite part of this whole dialogue is the one of the farmers is like, you should have seen that chicken. He was so crazy. Gonk. Are you sure you're... Is it possible that you're thinking of the Gonk droid from Star Wars and not a chicken?
I don't know. That's what the script says.
Script says.
Just read the script.
Script says chicken says Gonk.
I'm here for 3 hours for 3 hours for a voice acting gig. I don't care.
I'm getting paid $25 or whatever Netherlands money is.
So gonk off and let me do my job.
Yes, I'm just gonna read Gonk. It's a typo, but who fucking cares? It was supposed to say gawk, and that's at least close to a chicken. It was supposed to say bagok, and he read it as gonk. Steven Spielberg was using the software right before him, so it autocorrects to gonk.
Oh, yes.
That's why. Anyway, they embarrassed themselves.
What's autocorrect there in 85?
85 was just rife with autocorrect. And they're embarrassing themselves. They're making a scene and annoying their waiters and the maitre d'. They want to get them out of there.
Yeah,
and
they're annoying me.
I mean, yeah, but they're all super wasted. But you know how it is in the fast-paced world of poultry.
I do.
Yeah, man. So anyway, they leave to catch their taxi. But in order to get a taxi, they're going to need to use the lift.
Wait, the lift or the lifts?
Lift.
Minor quibble here. Why is there 3 elevators in this movie called The Lift? There's 6? No, there's 3.
I think there's 6 because it seemed like one of the times he went around the corner and that there's 2 banks of elevators in a sequence.
Oh, I don't think so.
Maybe it could have just been a really weird shot.
Yeah,
but
I think there's just 3.
It seemed like he exited one of the doors, went around the corner, and then came back and push the button on the elevator on the other side, as though
No.
there were 6
You're
elevators
tripping.
total.
No.
Okay, hey,
There's 3
if you're gonna question the directing skills of this director,
of Dick Moss.
which is it's Spanish for more dick.
But no, there are 3 elevators, and every floor is the same set, which I like too. They're just like, oh, this floor is under construction. It's a different floor. Yeah, here's a pile of wood in the corner.
Good. The elevators look so great. Like their color choices and their lighting choices are so good. There are so many things about this movie that are really cool, and the 70s-ness of it is really cool. I love the fact that it reads like a 70s sci-fi movie in so many moments. Yeah. It really captures that bleak. I mean, it's kind of probably what the Netherlands looks like at that time of year, and they just were shooting it, but it has that nice bleak look of a 70s sci-fi movie, you know, and then all of the weird technology stuff that is really phoned in and looks Logan's Run-ish.
Oh, gosh.
All of their, like, when they finally reveal the monster,
Yeah.
it's very Logan's Run stuff.
Yep.
I use monster. It's a circuit board. The monster is a circuit
With
board
some
with
goop
goo
on
on
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, ooh.
And yep, jizz-covered circuit
It's
board
alive,
is the monster.
Yes.
Nope, that Jello on circuit board does not equal alive. I'm so sorry to tell you. But anyway, so this set of elevators opens all 3 doors, which we find out later in a little tiny piece of dialogue is not supposed to happen. There's literally a computer there to keep it from doing that, so that only one elevator will open at a time to save energy, which is true for all elevators. They're not going to all just race to the floor. So
I mean, wouldn't there be 3 buttons, or is there only one button?
there's only one button to call all 3 in the bank.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And so they open simultaneously, and you know, it's a weird moment because they go in there and the guys are like, all right, sex workers who we've paid money for sex for, let's do it. And they're like, come on, we're bashful. Let's wait till we get home. Come on. I mean, honestly, maybe they just don't want to get
Even
arrested.
if they're not sex workers, yeah, you don't want to get busted gonking in an elevator.
Yes, of course. Sorry, that autocorrect is on you as well.
Yeah, it sucks.
Okay. But you know, this pisses off the elevator because the elevator wanted to see boobs, and so it breaks down. They get stuck. We get a moment where it looks like lightning hits the building in one of those things because it's a big storm outside. There is thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
All the power goes off, and it's almost like a red herring that
like a short circuit thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That it caused this thing to happen, but we don't. There's some shit that he says later about the chips that makes me think that maybe
chips.
it is. Yeah. We'll get to the chips.
You won't believe what chips can do now in the world of chips.
Chip stuff. So now they've got like extra nacho blasted flavored chips. So much they can do anything. But
they have chips that are flavored like other chip products.
Oh my God! Now they've got potato chips that taste like Doritos. What the hell, man?
It's like for when you want your potato chips to taste like your tortilla chips, but don't want tortilla chips, you just want normal chips.
That's crazy. I can't handle it. Anyway, but we find out that nothing. We do get boobs. We get boobs for 1 second.
It's so ham-fisted.
It's really ham-fisted.
It's just like, here's some boobs.
Because she refused to make out with him, so
Yeah.
it's like they're just there. She's just like, by the way, I'm overheated, so here's my boobs.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Anyway.
Because, they just start going at it hard and heavy, but, like, they've also explained that it's ridiculously hot in there and hard to breathe, so by all means, go to Pound Town right now. Jeez.
Yeah. And we're also... I didn't understand this, but they're all starting to asphyxiate. Something's happening in there. We don't really know why, but one of the ladies has a mirror in her hand. Did you get that? Did you understand what that was about? Like maybe she was supposed to prove that she wasn't drawing breath, but it was like in her lap.
Yeah, I have no idea what that meant.
It looked like she was doing like a cervical inspection or something, but okay. Honestly, I don't know. I would have saved the boobs for halfway through.
Did you watch this on YouTube, or did you rent it, or did you have it?
I own it.
You own it?
Yes.
Okay.
I own this delightful film.
I do not. I don't have this on any format, and I watched the rip on YouTube, which was pretty subpar.
Oh yeah, mine was. I mean, honestly, the clean digital version is pretty awful. I'm not awful, but not good. It looks like a Doctor Who episode.
Okay, so I just didn't know if I missed anything with that mirror. Like I couldn't tell because of my.
Yeah.
But no, you're confirming the same thing.
Yeah, it looks like a 70s Doctor Who.
If you got a nice
episode.
HD rip and can't tell what that mirror's for, then fuck if I can.
Exactly. Anyway, okay, so the lights come back on, and the waitstaff find them all laying in the elevator.
This cracked me up. Why do they care?
They're evidently they are in such a state that everyone recoils in terror. Now, do you think that in the original version of this they were dead? Because we never see them again.
They
and
mentioned
only
that
only the dub says that they're still alive.
Yeah.
And do you think that they just decided that audiences were like, that is an insane number of people to die before you do anything about this?
Maybe and maybe not, especially.
But when they open the door, they look at them like they're looking at a pile of goo
because
with eyeballs and like bones sticking out of it.
Yeah, because I say maybe not because in the remake they have a similar thing in the beginning, completely different group of people, but they do live, and people are. But what happens is shocking, so people are super surprised at the end, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So like maybe they were supposed to live, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
It was done much better in the remake, but yeah, this I kind of feel like we almost should have seen it. What? I mean, if you see a bunch of people that have just like passed out, that's not shocking.
No,
you're gonna be like, oh shit, are they okay?
No,
like,
you would run in to help them. You wouldn't look at them and go, "Oh my god," as though there's literally nothing you can do because their heads are laying in a different place.
Yeah.
Like their reaction is as though there was nothing they could do at that point.
Yep.
Like if they've all passed out, you would be like, "Oh shit, do I get the Narcan? Do I like give them mouth to mouth? What do I do?" But like these guys are just like, corpses.
Yeah, I kind of wish we did see like a bloodbath or like just 4 missing heads and no blood. Be like, what?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
Something weird like that. Anything that
anything. Okay, this is my first correction for this movie.
Okay.
So they're constantly like throwing little things around. There's two mentions of rats dying in this thing.
Yeah.
We see the rat that falls on him, and then somebody says, and then the thing was just full of dead rats. What if instead it was skeletonized rats? And then we find out that it's harvesting their organic matter to build a central nervous system in the building.
Well, we would need to get that Halloween 3 remote control room for that shit that we don't have.
That's the thing.
Yep.
So that's like...
That's a cool idea.
Like right there, you have one tiny fix
that
at least explains what's going on in the story. Where like we never... Because again, the one real fault of this movie, aside from it being not very exciting... Its major fault is that it doesn't ever explain why what's happening is happening.
Yeah.
And it's not left vague like a Lovecraftian vagueness, because
in
order to do that,
care.
You need to explain what the vagueness is, because we don't even know what the vagaries are of this extraterrestrial, otherworldly, self-generating chip.
Because they explain later on that, they have an organic chip that was self-generating, but they don't really give that chip a motive.
Right, exactly. That's the thing, is that it needs to have some purpose to kill people. Like it's not just the fact that a chip self-replicates doesn't make it want to murder people.
Mm-hmm.
That's if it said, "Oh, and also we made this chip out of all the most evil chips. It was from Hitler's personal computer and Pol Pot's fucking electronic football game," and like. And then it went evil, like Christine, like kind of explain it like that. But no, we never get that.
Yep.
Anyway.
We never get nothing.
Okay, so we get this great transition shot of the little toy ambulance that we think is supposed to be a real ambulance. It fools you at first.
I loved it, man.
It's so good.
Because it did fool me.
Yeah. It's a good shot.
I was like, come on, movie. You can't afford a fucking ambulance. I was like, oh, well played.
Well played. Absolutely. It really, it definitely, you're like, oh my God, they're Tohoing this shit. How could they possibly get away with that?
Yep.
And it's perfect. It looks
Love
really
it.
good. And it also works as a metaphor for his family because he fixes it. He's taking his skills as an electrician and he's fixing this toy. That's holding his family together, his job and his home life. And then later on, when his home life leaves him, he crushes it, separating himself metaphorically from his family.
Damn.
So that's totally
Dork.
total bullshit. Total bullshit. Anyway, okay.
Sound like some pompous ass describing A24 movies.
Yeah, they did not mean that. You know what? They might have meant that, but it's stupid.
But who cares? It's a killer elevator
Yeah,
flip.
It's not a killer elevator. Anyway, okay. So, but also, we want to establish that he's a tough guy. So he's going to be shirtless in the bathroom nursing a black eye because he was fighting.
Who was he fighting?
He was fighting somebody that he talked to their wife, but he's so handsome that the guy got jealous and punched him.
Why is this movie so hung up on infidelity and adultery and misunderstanding shit?
You know why?
Why? I don't know. I'm asking.
Because sometimes middle-aged dudes write scripts and they're having issues at home and they let that shit just filter into their work. And you're like, dude, this is not your therapy. This is a shitty movie about an elevator that eats people. So fucking calm the hell down.
Well, when I see a man of this age with like a black eye, like I instantly think like bar fight.
Yep.
But we don't see this guy even take a drink the whole movie. He doesn't go to a bar. He doesn't go...
No, there is dialogue in there where he says something like, "I just wanted to help this woman out," and then her husband took offense, or it's something like that.
Maybe he was trying to teach her to bowl better.
There's some great bowling in this movie.
There's some great bowling scene that really adds a lot.
Important, but it also points towards everyone suspecting him of being a Lothario, so that's pretty important. Anyway, we get some morning breakfast nonsense where we learn that the mother might be just a touch bonkers. She tells the kid that reading is only for school and to put away that book.
Yeah,
which I thought was very funny. That's a great lesson for the kids. The kid puts salt in his dad's tea, but the dad shows that he might have a little bit more going on than your average elevator repairman, and he switches his tea with his kid's tea.
Hilarious. Movie.
I mean, honestly, the way that it was played was not... I mean, if it was in an American movie, it would be very Rob Schneider-y and very, very stupid. But nothing, they don't draw attention to it.
Yeah,
so it's just like a little background thing. It's not a funny thing, but it's a character quirk that allows something to happen while they're trying to get other stuff out of the way. That's one of the things that they're kind of missing in a lot of the scenes is some of this kind of like background work that might have made it more fun. But that was okay stuff. So he gets a call from the boss about this elevator incident that we witnessed, and they want him to come fix it because he's their number one elevator repairman. And the second he was like, "Oh yeah, we need you to come in," I was like, man, how much better a movie would this have been if he was in a cabin? The boss helicopters in, and he's like, "Listen, we've got a problem with the elevators in town. I left that life behind, man.
I'm retired.
We need you to do one last job. The president's daughter was in that elevator. My God, I promised that I'd never let anything happen to her.
I'm just a turnip farmer now."
I guess I am her godfather, so I've got to go take care of this.
Yes, that would be much.
But instead, but keep that in mind for the rest of the movie because he is played as though he is a cop in any other American action movie. Basically, his role is there's constant times when he comes in and he's like, "You're not doing enough." And they're like, "You're out of line. You're going to get everyone in trouble. You're a loose cannon. Hand in your elevator repair badge." Like there's so much of that shit. Like it reads like a Dirty Harry movie that's like a parody of a Dirty Harry movie where it's like he's an elevator repairman, and for some reason it never reads as ridiculous. I never get to the point where I laugh at it, but man, when you sit back and think of the dialogue and the way that he's treated as a character, it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, so he shows up to fix the elevator. We get a bunch of extraneous characters that we don't need to know.
Nope.
They're just there to do random stuff. Building Super shows up dressed in a full Inspector Gadget outfit. He's got like a London fog trench coat down to his feet. And there's a third guy from the Evil X Corporation, whatever the hell they're called. Rising Sun.
Rising Sun, yeah.
Right, that's right. It was 1985. By the way, this is the time when we were villainizing the Japanese for buying things in the United States, and everything was like, oh no, the Japanese are taking over everything, and there was a bunch of racist nonsense going on.
So yeah, he works for the elevator company, but he only makes the elevator. He only works on the mechanical stuff.
Right, he doesn't work on
Rising
the computer.
Sun has built the computer that controls the...
Yes.
And that's where some conflict comes into play.
Sure. No, it doesn't. It almost, honestly, the conflict arises, 5 minutes from the end of the movie?
Yeah, he's just
because he's never at odds with Rising Sun.
He goes in there and says like something, right?
He says, I mean, he talks to them, but he's always polite. He never confronts them.
Yep.
And then everything is fine until the end. It's so weird. This movie's real weird. Okay, so he walks into the elevator with a toolkit, flips a toggle switch back and forth, and he says, I don't think I could be much help. It's working fine. And it's like, 4 people nearly asphyxiated in this thing. Maybe you might want to do more than flip a toggle switch back and forth, buddy.
No, I'm good.
No, it's fine. So the repair guy, Inspector Gadget, and some rando with a mustache ride up. The guy with the mustache is like a super red herring character because he is acting twitchy and crazy through this whole movie. He comes back later on, doesn't do a goddamn thing. But like he looks so guilty through this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like he knows something. They're like, he's a brain doctor. Ooh, interesting. That's a character trait that might come into play with a sentient elevator.
Nope.
No.
He
Nothing.
Weird. He just lives to come back and get a jump scare at the end.
Yeah, that's
which was a very effective jump scare.
That was good. I like that a lot. There's a compelling scene where they push the wrong button and nearly get out on the 11th floor.
Whoops.
Oh, I was on the edge of my seat.
That would have been tragically annoying, and then they'd have to step back in the elevator.
Yeah, which they do. They finally get to the electrical system upstairs, and he decides that it wasn't hit by electricity, and we get a very poorly framed shot of the computer that runs the thing if you want to draw attention to it for later on in the movie. That was crazy to me, that it was like totally from the side. They're like, oh no, that's the Rising Sun computer. Instead of like showing us full on, they show it from the side with Inspector Gadget standing next to it, which was weird.
What bothered you about that?
It just seems weird that they wouldn't, like, you're establishing this is the main, that's the villain of the movie.
Yeah, but you don't know that at this point. So it's like, that's one of those things where it's like the villain's just in plain sight here. Like, but we don't know it, so you wouldn't think anything.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better than I think it is.
It's
okay.
not.
No. Okay, so it turns out, again, this is another frustratingly dropped plot line that could have made this so cool. He's like, all right, turns out the last maintenance worker went insane and took a long time with the checkup last time. That's crazy. That's an interesting story. We get a fucking Mouth of Madness thing here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't wait till we go visit him in the mental home.
What could have been so terrifying that I bet he's going to say something really creepy and scary that's going to point us towards something.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure too. I can't wait for that scene.
Yeah, or he might just sit in a chair and say nothing and then be scared of pudding.
Yeah.
It also might be that.
Pudding is kind of scary. It's a texture thing.
Am I wrong? Was that literally all he did? He sat in a chair and was scared by pudding.
Yeah.
That was his entire fucking role in this movie. Okay.
Well, that's the thing, man. I thought once you saw the pudding... But we'll get there.
Yeah.
What the fuck? We'll get there.
Yeah, there's no getting around it. That's weird.
We'll get to Pudding Town eventually.
Okay. So we cut to the dad fixes Felix, our main elevator repair guy. He's fixing the ambulance toy at home. He sends the kids to bed, and we get this scene where we find out that his wife is saving bottle caps to win a trip to Hawaii, and they aren't getting along well.
Why? Why? I mean, another thing, like, They even, when she moves out later on for overreacting, he's just like, oh, she took the bottle caps but left the box. Like,
I'm going to say that made more sense in the original language. That whatever was going on there, I'd blame that on the dub.
Or like
I blame
just
that
missing caps, you mean, but leaving the box?
I think that there was probably a lot more to that in the original, because there's no way that it was just that. That's too weird. Like, I would imagine that that's better in its original language. And maybe there's a cultural thing that wasn't translatable.
But it's like both her and the boss man near the end were both talking about taking trips to Hawaii too.
Oh, yeah, and the cop.
Yeah, everybody was talking about taking trips to Hawaii, but like, that doesn't go anywhere for no reason.
You know why? Because we find out that everybody's cheating on everyone else in this movie. The guy who runs the building, his wife is cheating on him with the head of the corporate. No, vice versa. But somebody's getting cheated on. There's two people from different companies that are cheating on each other. And maybe the cop is having an affair with his wife. And that's why the cop was looking at the Hawaiian brochure. She ran away with the cop.
Oh, jeez. Who cares? Why? Why is everybody cheating in this?
Why? I do not know. Again, I put it to somebody working through some issues. All right. Cut to what I can only assume is a comic relief scene of a blind man asking to know about the view out the window of the apartment he's buying for his mother. Maybe it's funny in Dutch.
It's oh god. This scene bothered me too because like the man's blind. He's not stupid.
Right.
He knows where he is. So the guy's like, what's the view look like here? He's like, well, out this window you see this giant forest, and out this one you see this lovely river. But you're just in the city, dude. You've got to know this.
Well, the thing is that he's talking about another apartment. They're in his office. We don't know what it looks like.
Oh, he's not talking about buying a thing in that building?
I don't know.
I thought he was. Who cares anyway? He's going to be dead in 2 seconds.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But it's also I think it's supposed to be comic relief, but it doesn't work.
I will say in this movie compared to the remake though, they do this better because in the remake they give him a dog that also goes down with him. And I'm like, come on, you just was that to up the ante from the first movie? Like the blind man falling in the elevator shaft works just fine.
That's really
you don't need to add a dog to it. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, either way.
Oh, the elevator killed a German Shepherd. It's like super evil now.
That is pretty evil. Anyway, well, there's only one way to get out of this building for this guy, and that's to go to the lift.
No,
That's right. And so he taps his way to the elevator and hits the door with his cane, and I'm thinking that this pisses off the elevator. It's like, how dare you?
It's like tapping the glass.
Yep. And he's like, fine. After a little fake out, the thing opens to an empty shaft. He falls to his death. Hooray. Now we get a new security guard opening, and we get this gross dude telling the grossest story that a human being can say. He's like, hey, how's it going? Oh, you're married? Let me tell you, I sure did have a lot of sex back in the day with so many disgusting people that I'm now immune to penicillin, he says. Like,
great.
Listen, I may overshare sometimes, but dude, fucking read the room. That nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to know that you're immune to penicillin, so your whatever fucking genital warts are out of control or something. God damn. Anyway,
the wart cream also works great as hand lotion. If you ever need to borrow any, just hit me all up.
And then he shakes his hand. So all right,
we just made this better.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. The lift tries to pull some shenanigans with the guy who's immune to penicillin. He does this thing, and he looks down and he sees the dead guy in the shaft, and he's like, huh, dead guy. Then the lift decides to crush his head, but it doesn't really crush his head. It just holds him there, and he can't get out. And this is tense.
The doors close on his neck, and he can't pull his head out. It is awesome.
It is awesome. It is honestly terrifying.
It is the cover image of the movie, actually.
And there's good reason for it. It is one of the best kills in a horror movie.
Yeah.
It is really, 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 really good. It is obviously the reason to watch this movie. Like, for a highlight reel of horror movies from the 80s, this one deserves to be on it. Absolutely.
It's unique AF.
I mean, absolutely. And I mean, because they built the fake elevator, they can do this thing without endangering this dude's life. Because looking at it, watching this shot, you are terrified for the actor.
Yep.
Like, even knowing that that's a fake elevator, even knowing that there's some guy just like holding a piece of wood pretending that it's an elevator, you're like, oh, if that guy doesn't get out of the way in time, he's actually going to be dead. But obviously,
and they shot the scene in reverse too. Actually.
Really?
Yeah. So he was actually in there and he was moving his head upwards for safety's sake, and they actually.
Oh, so it is a real elevator.
Yeah. It's a real thing inside there.
It's a real. Yeah.
And they had I guess a safety bar, so in case it broke, it wouldn't hurt him. But I guess there were questions abound of whether that safety bar was even enough to hold back the thing if it did fall. Like,
oh my God, everything about that is terrifying.
Right?
Oh Jesus. Okay, there you go.
Fuck it came out great. So
I mean, it is. Unfortunately, it's not like, wow, I'm sure glad that you got that shot for The Godfather, or like, it sure was worth driving those people insane for The Shining. It's like, you made The Lift.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't worth it. But anyway, it's cool. So my favorite line of dialogue in the whole movie, he's stuck in there, and then the new trainee is like, oh no, I'll call the police. Do you have their number?
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. Pretty soon he gets his head cut off, and it's great. And now a cop shows up and tells the story about a man who cut a woman in half with a Black & Decker drill somehow.
It's doable, I guess.
Maybe he had like a spade bit and he was really working at it, and it was a plug-in drill, and so he wouldn't run out of juice, and I don't know. It seems like it would take a long time. But either way, there you go. He did. I don't know why that was, but and then he makes, actually his joke was a capper. I did like that. He was like, I skipped lunch that day.
Yeah.
Give it to you. That was good. The owner of the building goes into a rant here, and he's like, these lifts were safe. They told me nothing could go wrong. And he acts like an elevator is some sort of new technology that just arrived.
Yeah,
as
right?
if it hasn't been around since 1850 or whatever. It's like, dude, what are you doing? This isn't bleeding edge tech. This is a fucking elevator, man.
Well, it is kind of bleeding edge tech, because I got that secret Rising Sun super chip.
But guess what? They don't need it, because elevators still work everywhere else on Earth. And they don't have the bleeding edge tech.
They don't have chips?
No. Well, I mean, they do, but they don't need those. Anyway.
I wonder when the first elevator to get a chip was.
Oh, God. Somebody look it up. Okay, so he says that in the Netherlands, we're assuming that they're actually saying they're in the Netherlands, because all the signs are in Dutch, so probably. He says 250,000 people get stuck in elevators every year in the Netherlands. Netherlands population in 1985 was 15 million people. That's about 1 in 50 people getting stuck in an elevator every year. The Dutch literally have to, or the people in Amsterdam have to plan their lives around how much time they're spending.
It's like a sick day there. They have it built into their sick time off. And like, sorry, boss, I got to take an elevator day. Happen again.
And think about how much of the Netherlands is rural. So you're literally thinking like 2 major cities, basically. So probably it's more like 1 in 3 people are who use elevators on a daily basis.
I want to know now if that was in the original script too, or was that Americans won't know. I mean, to be fair, I don't know shit about the Netherlands or know that it was even rural. Or you're
supposed to assume that it's the U.S. and that there's a population of 250 million at that time. Sure, maybe.
Either way, lots of people are getting stuck in these elevators.
I will tell you that I did go down a fucking wormhole of looking up elevator statistics, and it makes me never want to use a fucking elevator again. I can tell you that.
All right, cool. We'll carry everything up the stairs next time we go to Westbrook.
So 50 people get stuck in elevators.
Oh, you've got the stats on you?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Every day. Okay, so all right, so here it is. So there are 50 deaths a year involving elevators.
Okay.
That's crazy to me. And now there's a 1 in 5,000 chance that if you use an elevator every day, that you will get stuck in an elevator. That's crazy to me too.
Well, it's not that crazy. I mean, things can malfunction and break. Your car breaks down when you're on the way to work. It doesn't mean it's bad or super dangerous.
Still freaks me the fuck out.
Like, you're just talking about getting stuck. You're not talking about cables breaking and plummeting. No. Do you have plummet stats?
I don't. Usually, the deaths were mostly attributed to people fucking around. You know, it's like people falling down elevator shafts, playing in abandoned buildings or whatever, that kind of thing. So I think it's probably less. I think the number of people who die from like elevator cables snapping and the brakes failing and all of the fail safes going wrong.
That's the numbers I want to know. Yeah.
I don't think there's many. And that's in the world. So that's not just here. Anyway. Okay. So, by the way, we found another corpse at the bottom of the shaft.
Whoops.
Oh, hey, look at that. Are we going to tell people to use the stairs yet? No. The mayor came in and said, no, the elevator festival is this year. People.
This town lives on that.
We need those summer elevator users. If you shut down the elevators, Amityville's going to be in fucking dire straits.
Do you think there's a trade convention, an elevator trade convention?
I would.
Where it's just like they just have this whole
version,
whole civic center set up with like mock elevators. Here, step on in. Here's the buttons you push.
The Ultra Glide 2000 is just great. I love this thing.
I wonder what kind of special features there. Oh God, they're probably putting touch screens in them now.
Oh, of course.
Ugh,
and you can like watch TV, and it like fucking Jimmy Fallon yaps at you while you're going.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here for your mid-floor joke fest. We only got like 10 seconds. Here's a joke.
Please don't get enough of that while I'm fucking filling up the gas pumps.
Dude, that's a sure way to make me not go to your gas station.
Never go to your gas station.
I'll go to the
again.
gas station. I'll see that and be like, okay, I'll remember not to come here for gas now.
I will never go back.
At least Big Scraps has that dumb thing where it's like, hey, come on inside. It has a mute button on it. I can't shut that damn TV off at other places.
Have you the one on Western Avenue in South Portland? I went there and it was like yapping at me and it was full volume and I was just like, stop, and I was like pushing the mute button and I realized that people had been punching the mute button and it had broken because there was an indent of like knuckles in the mute button because they wanted to shut Jimmy Fallon up so fucking badly.
It's like, gee, I wonder, maybe you should not have these.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't want this.
Maybe people don't want
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants it.
Have you ever heard anybody being like, oh, dude, if you want to get gas, make sure you go to this gas station because they have a TV.
Oh.
It's called Cheeseball News or some shit, and it like tells you some fun information facts when you're.
It's the best.
Nobody has ever said that.
Nobody wants that. It's to stop you from using your cell phone while you're there, even though it has been disproven that cell phones can ignite gasoline. They literally cannot do it.
No.
People are dumb. Anyway, okay.
That's why I play with my lighter when I check my phone.
Exactly, same. I make sure that all the gas is going in. All right, so a reporter shows up to watch him fix the elevator because she's got nothing going on in her life.
Really, what in the H here? Where does she come from? She
just appears. She's an evil spirit that just haunts the house. We don't know that she's even real. Maybe she's the spirit of all the people that have died in that building.
Or the ghost of cheaters.
Yes, she's the adulterer, the ghost of adulterers past.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there it is. But something happens and they watch the cables vibrate and they all kind of freak out and he's like,
that's normal.
Sometimes things like that happen, even though he's like totally freaked out too.
Was he? I didn't think he was freaked out.
He kind of like,
he was just like, there's just air currents through the shaft. Makes the things move.
He said that, but he also like looked over.
I missed that part.
He had a like quick little
like reaction. A subtle nuance.
Yes, this movie's full of subtle nuances. I mean, honestly,
it's
for a movie about an elevator that fucking eats people. This movie is full of nuance. You have to admit.
Yes, it works it works on multiple levels.
Anyway, he reports back to the big boss and says everything is functioning normally, and the cop that's standing there retorts, "I wish we could say the same thing about the victims." Zing! What a dick. Yeah. The cops blame it on mice.
Oh man, those The Netherlands is beautiful this time of year, but we have these mice that will decapitate you. So just look out for those things.
Look out for the mice that push you down elevator shafts.
Other than that, enjoy your stay. Check out Restaurant Icarus. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
They make very strong drinks.
So he gets back on his truck, and the reporter's in the passenger seat. She's invited herself along. She wants to go to the Greek tea room. She's a very pushy lady. She actually does, admittedly, these scenes are shot as though she is trying to break up his family. It's very odd, where she literally is like, oh, is that your family? Oh, how long have you been together? Huh? And like, it's like, okay, what are you trying to get at with this? Like,
yep.
All women are awful and all men cheat. Is this the fucking message that this movie's trying to get across?
Like you said, man, somebody's working through some issues.
Working through some stuff. But there's a lot of flirty banter, and she lights up a cigarette, and she's like, hold on, let me get the Penguin fucking cigarette holder. I was like, who in the hell uses one of those things?
Does he really flirt back, though?
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
She's
That's
flirty.
what I thought. Yeah.
He is...
Okay, he's straight arrow.
He is without sin. He is the man in this movie. He is the surrogate.
Elevator repairmen are a noble breed.
They are very, very noble. This is a pro elevator repair screed that this movie puts through.
It's just loaded with pro elevator propaganda.
This movie was funded by the Otis Elevator Corporation. There's some fun shots of bowling here. Hooray!
Cool.
It's his wife and some weird friend, like, couple that, like, whatever. He once again proves how noble he is, because his weird friend is like, hey, check out that hot lady. Look, she's got a butt on her look at her butt. Her butt's exactly in the same place as a normal lady butt. You want to look at it? And he's like, I'm not interested in looking at butts that are not belonging to my wife.
I'm going to go pick a fight.
I am an elevator repairman. And we hold ourselves to a higher calling, repairing elevators. And then there's a great line of dialogue that is just probably because they aren't from the U.S., which was, I'm going to go get some drinks. What kind do you want? Which I was like, that's funny. That's a funny way to say, what would you like for a drink?
One liquor drink, please.
What kind of drink? But they go out. The two of them go get drinks. The wife and the female friend, part of this team, and the friend basically right here decides that she wants to break up the marriage too. She's like, if he's acting weird, he's probably cheating on you.
Yeah,
he seems like the kind of person who'd cheat. I bet he'd cheat on you.
That's the thing. These characters are just in this movie just to make this misunderstanding happen and plant seeds for him cheating on her, which he never does, and it doesn't matter because there's no resolve to their relationship at the end. So
none of it makes any sense.
Are we supposed to like feel good that he walks off with the reporter at the end,
yes,
like, knowing that like,
they're
a couple now?
Yeah, they're gonna
and
bang.
That can only be. I mean, why can't there just be a group hug with the wife and like none of the cheating shit happened at the end? Like,
we're happy because he's no longer saddled with kids, so now he can go on and repair elevators even longer hours. Because
he's gonna have that child support payment.
As we found out later, people are excited to work overtime at the elevator repair factory. So excited. Okay, this is that's. So, like, literally, next day, he goes to the elevator shop. I don't know what the hell they're at. And he's like, hey, Hans, I found you this part. And Hans is like, thank you so much. Now I can work overtime.
Yeah. Once I eat another salami sandwich. Yep. Oh, salami again. Oh, no.
Yeah, there's that, too. So weird. Okay, so... Felix tells his boss that the lift needs a full overhaul, and the boss says, hey, the police say it was an accident. You know, it's fine. What there were only 3 incidents, 2 deaths over a 2-day period. Come on, there's 2 deaths and 4 people
There's only one more death than there is days.
Yeah, exactly.
So, come on, we're good.
We're doing fine. And whatever. It's just that one incident of three things happening in one elevator. It's fine. Anyway, Felix is a loose cannon. He's heard that the last worker found a ton of problems last time, and he's like, "Where'd you hear that?"
Yeah.
Just around. People talk about elevator stuff on the street. I was in a bar. Everybody was talking about elevator stuff. I was down at the local elevator repairman bar where we all hang out. The one on the east side elevator repairman bar, not the west side one. There's like 2 or 3 over there, but the good one, not the bad one. Anyway, we were there talking elevator repair, and somebody brought it up that there was a lot of repairs in that elevator. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to have your badge, loose cannon elevator repairman." And then the boss is acting super weird, and we're like, holy shit.
We're going to get some info.
He's trying to throw Felix off the trail by offering him a promotion. Oh my God. This elevator thing is bigger than we think. This goes all the way to the top.
Oh!
Holy shit, because it's an elevator.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Anyway.
Oh, I got it.
Then we cut to a great dialogue scene. This is one of those wake up the teenage boys scene, because they're like, we don't have any extra nudity in this thing, so I'm going to have a conversation about how, hey, I'm going out on a date tonight. I hear that this lady shaves off all her pubes. This is great. And
cool. Great to hear.
Why is this important? I swear to God.
Are we going to see this lady he's talking about?
No, of course not.
Do we see this character again after this one moment? No.
Of course not. But I really think that was just to the kids of 1985, the 14-year-old boys who are watching this movie.
Oh, are we going to see this lady?
Hoping something will happen. They're like, "Oh, wait, did somebody say pubes?
Yeah.
Somebody say naked lady? Wait, huh? Oh." And they wake up for a hot minute and then go back to, I don't know, 1985. What were they doing? Playing fucking electronic football? I don't. What
Battleship.
What was the thing that you did in 1985? I don't really remember.
Gosh, I was 4, so I.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think there was anything to do in 1984. I was skateboarding. That's all I remember. Anyway, okay. So, conversation switches to the repair guy, Brooker. Whatever. The guy who went bonkers looking at elevators. He was obsessed with work. He would never sabotage an elevator. Oh, yeah. And he certainly couldn't have gazed at another worldly entity possessing the elevator that was so far beyond human comprehension that it drove him to madness. That would just be silly. Or actually interesting.
Or that would be actually interesting, and I can't wait to meet this guy, and I hope he fills us in on some of the things that we're wondering about.
You know what's crazy about this?
How big they dropped the ball here?
Number one, I found myself longing for one of the scenes that in most movies I'd be annoyed to waste time with. Namely, a scene where he's flashing, you see him sitting in the insane asylum, and then it just flashes to images of otherworldly shit that he's seen because he looked into the panel.
Yep.
And by seeing whatever was in the panel, he saw whatever otherworldly thing, Lovecraftian horror, was beyond the veil.
Yeah, I would have liked that.
Maybe he touched that thing and somehow it that's what burned his hands. He had some sort of corrosive acid on it. Yeah. Yep. But it was because he punched out the TV, which is that was a good moment. We find out that they mentioned the elevator thing, but we already knew that. That wasn't important. No. It would have been more interesting and more supernatural and fun if it had been something where it's just
or it's
what has he seen that drove him mad?
Or it's he got third-degree burns all over his hand at work. We don't know how.
Yeah. But now he's seeing beyond the veil or whatever, and that would be amazing. If he's literally no longer there, and every time you touch this substance, it's too much. Even if he gets Felix, if Felix got a drop on it and he saw something otherworldly, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But instead, we get none of this shit. We get nothing fun.
We just get a gigantic wasted scene, really.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, all right. So it turns out that for some reason, the middle-aged jerk that owns the building is having an affair with the lift company's owner's wife. Doesn't fucking matter. It's just needlessly complicating the plot. But she is surprisingly age-appropriate, which I appreciated. There's a weak comedy edit where we find out that he's talking about discretion among the employees, and it cuts to the employees being like, where's the owner? Oh, it's Wednesday. He's probably getting his rocks off. Yeah, so it's like, they can't be discreet. Everybody knows they're having sex. Anyway.
And that woman's just like, go play outside, daughter, while I gonk. My boss.
Go play with the evil elevator, please. Yeah. Now, and we get now this fucking scene straight out of every movie from like Italy or any of these things of this era. The little girl who's going to have a brush with the supernatural. Yeah. She's carrying her doll around. Usually the doll is possessed. In this case, it gets mutilated in a hilarious way.
I like this scene.
It's great. It works really well. She's playing around. She gets like the part where the elevator starts being playful with her is really great.
Loved it.
It's like you believe that this is how a child would relate to this situation happening. It starts opening in different bays, and she's like, ha, ha, ha. It's like it's playing with me.
Yeah.
And so she runs to it. She runs to the other one, and then the other one, and then it's like after it...
It's always empty. Yep.
Right. After it gains her trust, then the middle one opens up, and it's going to...
just lifts a little bit. That's so creepy.
And it's really creepy and awesome. Like, that is a very Stephen King-y kind of thing. It's a really good moment. And it's like, oh, what the fuck's going to happen? Uh-oh. And then she gets called away just at the right moment so that when it slams shut, it crushes her doll but doesn't hurt her.
Yep.
And we see the doll, and they did such a good job because the eye is popped out of its head.
Yeah.
It's like, looks like Chucky at the end of part 2, basically. It's really, really messed up. And then her mom beats the shit out of her.
Right?
Whoa. That was unnecessary, but there you go. That was so weird. She just smacks the fuck out of her.
But it's an expensive doll, man.
Especially considering she doesn't get killed. I was like, okay, if you're gonna have her beat the crap out of this kid, shouldn't she get murdered? Shouldn't she be one of the victims? Like, you can't establish somebody to be this bad a person and then not have the elevator. I mean, this movie clearly can. I just feel like it's weird. Oh well. The dude who runs the building finds the the doll's arm stuck in the elevator door, pulls it out, and he's like, this evil elevator's acting evil. How odd. Oh well. Felix visits the old repair guy, and he's totally catatonic. Typical asylum scene. We've seen it in a million movies.
Everybody's so crazy and doing crazy things. Wacky. One guy's even got a saxophone, because, that wouldn't get annoying all day.
No, it certainly would. It certainly isn't full of parts and pieces that could be used to kill yourself. Like, I mean, come on, dude. Nobody's going to put that in there. That is... No way. Anyway, but he doesn't say a goddamn thing. Nothing fucking happens, and it's just like I said,
somebody freaks out and throws their pudding at a wall. He looks at a pudding splatter, and then that's where you were saying where, like, once he sees that, we should get flashbacks of the blood splatter or something that he saw or something.
And we got nothing.
Nothing. He just looks at the pudding and he's like, oh, that pudding reminds me of. Oh.
Yeah, totally. This movie, this is basically like if the people that made this movie made an adaptation of Lovecraft's Rats in the Walls, it would have been about a guy who runs an extermination company, and he's basically, for the entire movie, is at his office planning a way to kill a rat, and then he eventually goes to the place where the rat is. A guy shows up with a gun and shoots the rat, and that would be the movie. That's basically what this is. So, I don't know. Maybe it would be good. Who am I to say? I don't make movies. Anyway, after shooting the shit with the guards again, he goes to research some stuff and smokes a bunch. He finds out nothing about the company except that they're big and they do gross stuff that every corporation in the world does. Cool.
Neat.
Then he finds out that they were on TV last week.
What?
Around the time that the crazy guy smashed the...
What?
Wow. The fact that he went insane after repairing the elevator that kills people is not enough for you to put this together, buddy. You needed to time his injuring his hands. I feel like that's enough information for me. The elevator has killed 3 people now, or no, 2 people and nearly killed 7.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Boo. Anyway, okay. Felix goes to lunch with the reporter. They talk about stuff and smoke. The lady that thought he was cheating before sees them, and now she knows, because if you're at lunch with a woman, you're definitely fucking her.
Definitely.
Absolutely. He is fucking every woman who is eating lunch in that same room with her, including that woman, because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
If you eat lunch in the same room as a woman, that is adultery. I don't know.
It's true.
She's probably a member of the Taliban or something. Maybe that's why she's got this this version of what cheating is. Anyway, they drive out in the Delta Liften car and drive out to the building, which is labeled Verboten Totensgang.
I like that building.
I love it too.
Verboten Toegang.
Verboten Toegang, which means forbidden entrance in Dutch, and still sounds adorable. He goes in for an interview with
I
this...
thought it was like a secret podiatrist.
Toe gang.
Yeah.
It's like
a
Gucci
secret cabal of people that are just great foot doctors, but just not anybody can see them.
Yes, they're verboten. But he goes for an interview with the specialized tech guy who runs this tech company. I guess we find out later that he does, because he's the one that's meeting with all these people. He's the sinister face of the sinister corporation.
He's gun guy at the end, right?
He's the guy that shoots it at the end. Yeah.
Cool. Well, finally,
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He shoots the elevator at the end.
Finally, we'll find out some information now that we're talking to this guy, right?
Oh, yeah. You wait. This is going to be some really, really important stuff. He's sexist and they don't know shit. Shocker.
Perfect.
He mentioned some stuff that if he went just a tiny bit further would be really interesting. Again, you could go a different route. This could be a sci-fi thing. The thing that is interesting about this whole thing is that he's like, we're in hospitals, we're in factories, our chips are everywhere. They're in nuclear weapons. Fuck.
Yeah.
A further exploration of this line would be scary and interesting and like a really great way to do a fucking sci-fi story. But nope, that is the end. That is
chips
as
could
far
even
as it
be
goes.
alien in origin. It could be anything neat.
I mean, I would even go for Alien. Alien to me would be the least interesting, but still drastically more interesting than anything else.
What if the guy is actually an alien?
Which one?
The head of the computer chip.
Oh, that's
factory.
great. I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
What I wanted out of this,
I just want something.
Basically, what I want out of this is way too much. But I want him to have touched this substance that has been replicating in the chip, and that it changed his mind, that it has gotten into his blood. Like somehow he cut himself, and it got in and reprogrammed him for the will of the computer. And so because he's infected with the AI from this thing that actually got into his bloodstream and was capable, because it was a protein, it literally got into his DNA and reprogrammed his brain.
And that would be a such better ending if he became part of the machine, and like we showed him like the next day at work, like, elevator's working fine, hop on in, and then it kills somebody. And he's like, boop, 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 and walks away, claps his hands, whistling. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's part of the killer elevator. I mean, we still don't know why, but like, it would still be something better than just walking away and leaving a sentient elevator behind you with no regard.
I certainly agree.
Like, okay, it whipped out and grabbed that guy, but it probably won't do it to me.
Yeah, no, so we're fine.
Let's walk away slow.
Anyway, yep. Okay, back at home, Felix and the kids have Felix is with the kids, and the kids have apparently been filled in on the fake adultery.
What the
Mom
F, Mom?
was like, hey, guess what? You know your dad? He's an adulterer. He's a piece of shit. And it's like,
we're 5 and 8.
Mom, do you have just secondary information from one of your friends seeing him at lunch with another woman, and they were just talking?
And they weren't even touching?
We think that you're crazy. Anyway, but the thing is that they're both totally to blame in this situation because she has this crazy concern about him being an adulterer, which in his defense, there's no grounds for it, and she has no reason to believe it.
And he doesn't even contradict her.
He refuses to say that he's not cheating on her. He never once says,
"What? Yeah,
I am not cheating on you," which is
insane. Because he's not. Why wouldn't you say this?
Because he's an idiot.
He does say,
and literally in the middle of this conversation, she's like, "You're cheating on me. What's her name? She's a student." All this, the phone rings, and he's like, doesn't say, "Please, you're being anything." He just walks away, saying nothing, answers the phone, and talks to this person as though, and has a conversation as though this is a woman that he's in a relationship with.
I love too the dubbing here of her crying the whole time he's on the phone. She's like, "I'm not gonna be treated like this," and she runs up. She's like, "Wah." It sounds just like that. And the whole time he's on the phone, she's like, over this whole scene of dialogue.
So stupid.
It's such poor voice acting too.
It's like, okay, now it's time to go.
I mean, my imitation of it is just what it sounded like the whole time.
Exactly like that. Yep. So
I'm gonna cry the rest of this podcast.
Oh, great! If you didn't know what a microchip was, guess what? You're in for a treat. There's
22 times.
There's gonna be a guy that explains what a fucking microchip is.
Make yourself a game if you're watching this. Count the chips. I got 22.
Take a shot every time. Don't do that.
You'll die.
You will die. But we find out that there's a computer in the U.S. that became sentient, and so they dug a pit and buried it. This was one of those stories that the public just wasn't interested enough in that anyone else had heard of it. Just this one professor.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe if a computer came to life that maybe somebody might talk about it?
Well, I mean,
maybe.
We'll find out.
I mean, right now, we have computers that are basically smart enough to make perfect t-shirt mashups, and that's enough to put society on the brink of collapse.
Yep.
So I don't know.
You're out of work.
Oh, totally. I mean, they certainly knew how to bootleg the AI shirt like fucking mad.
Yeah.
That was the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. You can scroll for days, and it's just companies stealing our shirts. It's so crazy. I was really mad when, like, one of my designs that was mine was bootlegged, but then fucking Bill Sienkiewicz got bootlegged, and it was like, oh, great. Now, I don't even know what to do with this.
Yeah.
I should have put a fucking watermark on it, I guess. But I guess that's what happens. By the way, we have a Fuck AI shirt that we do with Bill Sienkiewicz, the famous artist of New Mutants and many other things, Elektra.
Where can I get this cool shirt?
You can get it at coastcitycomics.com.
Yeah.
And here in store at Coast City Comics in Portland, Maine. Please do that. Thank you. And that is the most advertising we'll do. Anyway.
And if you want to leave a special note, I'll cut the sleeves off it for you. Nice. I'm good at that.
So there's a great little bit of dialogue that's dropped as though it's totally rational, where he's like, oh, you know, any chip, if it's exposed to ultraviolet rays, can just start reprogramming itself.
Yeah, what?
And it was like, in 1985, you're saying my fucking VIC-20 Tandy computer could just start playing Zork by itself if I leave it out in the sun?
He does like a laundry list of things, doesn't he? He's
he
just
does.
Like, yeah, ultraviolet rays, lunar flares, subatomic particle radiation.
I wish he'd said lunar flares. That would have been the best.
If the tide's in, if it's high tide, bad news. He just like lists a bunch of things that are just like, okay. And why would these do anything? Unknown. We're not going to continue with this.
No, of course. It's a chilling vision of the future anyway, whatever. So
chips bad.
Yeah, he mentions that there are biochips made out of protein that can keep reproducing themselves. Dumb.
It's kind of cool.
I mean,
if we had more,
again, yes.
If we had more explanation or why or who made this.
But again,
or why it's doing it.
Right. Self-replicating microchips is great. I mean, if it's an Ice 9 situation and we're worried that literally the world is going to be nothing but microchips by the time it's done because it's replicating so fast. Yeah. Cool. That's scary. If it's if it's an evil entity that's doing it, sure. Why? But why is it doing it? Just replicating doesn't mean anything. It just means that there's more of them doing the same thing. I mean, there's reprogramming.
But it's evil.
But it is evil, as it turns out. Okay. The reporter knows where the box is and tells him to break into it, and they have a fight, and she doesn't want to ride with him, and it's just stupid.
Yeah, pointless.
And then my nose itches. Okay, so now the tap dancing janitor is introduced. This is super important. He gets chewed out by the foreman and does a classic blowjob pantomime behind his back.
Oh, you snarky bitch.
Yep. And the foreman is a total asshole. And then he goes by, and just to prove that he's an asshole, because it's important, because in these movies, you got to prove he's an asshole before you kill him. Oh, wait, he lives.
Yeah,
Anyway, what? He sexually harasses 2 fucking cleaning ladies.
That love it.
They're like,
oh, he slapped me on the butt.
He slapped me on the butt. That's so cool. This guy is basically what you get when you have casting notes that say, we need a Jim Belushi type.
We need a slob.
Yep. So he is the Jim Belushi type, the platonic ideal of a Jim Belushi. Janitor gets eaten by the elevator, leaving his buffer just spinning around on the floor.
I like that.
And I can tell you one thing, as somebody who's used one of those fucking buffers a lot, that's not how it works. Those things want to go through the wall or stop. There's only 2 settings on a floor buffer.
You mean there's not go a little bit, move a foot,
slightly,
then go a little bit,
spin
then
around
move
on
back
the
a
floor.
little foot? Yeah.
Those things want to fly
All
through the wall.
Yeah.
I have put many a floor buffer through drywall in my day.
That's why I don't work there anymore.
And that's one of the reasons I don't work for Portland Housing anymore. Okay, so weird guy we haven't seen since the beginning with the mustache, who's the brain doctor, shows up just so that he can find the janitor hanging from the ceiling of the elevator. Why? Just 'cause.
I will say that it's a great jump scare here.
It is.
When the guy comes in, sees the blood dripping down, then looks up, and then bam!
Yeah, it's good.
Super effective. Made me leap.
Felix goes back to the elevator repair shop, and we find out that he's been taken off the case.
What?
Yeah. He goes in to talk to the boss.
Was he getting too involved?
Yeah. You're too close to this.
Yeah.
He should have said. He almost does. But then it looks like he's about to go chew out his boss, but then the boss gets in the way and is like, no, I'm yelling at you. You making us look bad. You're doing all this stuff. You're screwing things up. And he's like classic fucking chief from any cop movie.
From any cop movie, yes.
And cops decide that they're going to blame all of the lift deaths on the janitor because they decided it wasn't mice, actually the janitor. He was there every time.
He was there every time because he works 5 days a week.
Yep, and they wanted to have a searing indictment of the Netherlands police force, so we have him clear this case up just so that he can look at vacation brochures. Damn. Real poignant. Anyway, Felix goes home and his wife has taken the kids. She's really committed to this bit, or she was looking for a fucking excuse to get away from him. Maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, finally an excuse to leave him.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend that I believe this.
Probably because he's getting in bar fights every night.
Yep, and he's obsessed with elevators. The real thing, it seals the deal that she took her fucking bottle caps.
She's going to Hawaii.
Yeah, those bottle caps are sending her to Hawaii.
I'm surprised they don't have a scene where she's cheating on him with the police chief.
I mean, it would be great. Why not? His son's toy ambulance drives towards his feet, and he crushes it, representing him cutting ties with the family. The reporter tries to call him, but he's unplugged the phone at this point. Looks like she's going to take elevator law into her own hands at some point. So many people who are loose cannons in this movie. Now speaking of cop movies, there's a fucking shady meeting in a black sedan with blacked out windows taking place at the dock.
So this is the head of the hotel, right?
Yes,
meeting with the head of Rising Sun?
Yes.
And they're just like,
I'm not going to keep covering up for you anymore.
Yeah, and again, it's just like, dude, we're like 15 minutes to the end of the movie. Could we get some information?
No.
No. We'll just be vague again.
We installed your living chips.
I can't keep covering for you. I gotta leave. I can't do this anymore. Do what?
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
And that's the thing, is that the guy looks sick and he's like, I feel sick.
Why?
We don't know. But then at the end he says that the machine is sick. So it's like, Is he part of the machine? Tell me something. Tell me one thing. Erg. But okay,
see if
so
we can get Dick Moss on this show and ask him what's up.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I've seen the remake too, but I'm pretty sure it leaves that pretty vague as well. Like, it's not like we don't get any big Halloween 3 room in that either, I don't think.
Right. Well, don't worry. This is such a good scene. This could be like a parody comedy, like Naked Gun moment for me. Like, this was the first thing that I saw them do that I laughed out loud, and I think they did it on purpose, but I'm not 100% sure. He sneaks up to the building in the dead of night, opens his toolbox, and we're like, okay, he's gonna do some fucking electronics shit. This guy's using his skills to get into the building. Cut to an interior shot, smash the window. I was like, real good.
Okay.
Anyway, he sneaks into the lobby where I guess all of this security that we've been set up to know that there's always security on 24 hours a day is missing.
They're probably drunk.
Because we've also been...
They've established that the guy likes to drink.
They do love to drink. And that he's immune to penicillin. Oh, wait, no, he's dead. Penicillin guy's dead.
No, that's right.
Then maybe that's why he's not there, because he's dead.
Then the little guy started drinking a lot because he was distraught about it.
Yeah, because he saw some shit. And he pushes the button and all 3 doors open simultaneously.
What?
Yet again, that's not supposed to happen because of the computer. And he gets out, he gets in, heads for the control room, but then walks around in total darkness for a while.
Dude, this is inexcusable, I feel.
It is.
Like, we're watching the movie, we're like, oh, okay, he's going for the final confrontation with the elevator. Sure. Like, all right, cool, shit's gonna happen. And it's like, and then he proceeds to just walk around in darkness for like 10 minutes doing next to fuck all. Like, what world are you living in where you think a movie would be well paced like this?
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But here's our big reveal. He goes to the Rising Sun terminal, pops it open. There's no computer inside.
What?
Oh my god, that's crazy.
What's controlling the elevator?
It's got to be some kind of sentient goop.
Super goop chip.
It's got to be super goop. And he gets in the lift and uses his key to open the roof panel. It starts by himself. It takes him to the 5th floor, the evilest of floors. As everyone knows, he grabs a chair to defend himself against the elevator. It looks like he's holding it out like a lion tamer.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this elevator. And then he comes in and it bites it and crushes it into kindling.
I do like that.
That was good. It looked great. He goes to the empty shaft and puts himself between the doors that he is well aware has killed people.
Yeah.
Multiple times. He's like, fuck it. He's a smart guy. It doesn't kill him because I guess it's having fun playing with him or something. He dicks around doing things that, like, if you're an elevator operator, maybe you're watching the scene and you're like, oh, this is fucking compelling. But I would imagine that only a small percentage of the audience of this film is elevator repair technicians.
I was having a hard time keeping involved.
Yes.
And it's like, this is supposed to be the most intense buildup of your movie.
This is where it gets boring.
So super boring.
Bad news. This whole thing felt like those scenes in 50s sci-fi movies where they're like, activate the Krolongator, and they just make up a bunch of science shit.
Crank the Google Wada Bada
and
meter.
then they just poke a button and they turn a switch and it's like fake science. This is like fake elevator repair. It's like even less interesting than those scenes in 50s movies. But whatever, it's fine. Nobody knows what the person is doing and nobody cares. That's just weird. He gets hit with a dead rat yet again. Would have been more interesting if they'd done something with that plot, but nope. He climbs the elevator cables, even though anybody that's seen a movie knows that there's a fucking ladder inside an elevator shaft on the side.
I've seen a movie.
So you've seen people climb those fucking ladders.
Yeah.
They exist. Whatever. He finally gets to a control panel, and it's covered with glowing jello.
Oh, shit.
And he's like, fuck, I'm going to stab this thing. So he stabs the glowing jello.
What happens here? I can't figure out, like, the elevator starts going like, brrr, the elevator starts like going up to him, but like I can't tell, is it grazing his back?
Yes, it is. But if you don't have, I mean, I figured that out eventually, but if you don't have like in-depth knowledge of how fucking elevators work, there's no chance in hell any of this scene makes any sense to you. Because you're like, why wasn't he just ground to pieces?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. But whatever. He isn't. For some reason, it can't activate the one that he's on and just crush him because it should be able to. It won't use the one where he is. It's only using the ones to the sides.
We know that it's got tentacles and can do whippy whips.
It doesn't break until later.
Oh, that's true.
That cable doesn't break until later. And also, how does it sentiently use that to... Whatever, it doesn't matter.
That's where it gets to be supernatural.
Right.
But we haven't been given any supernatural information.
Correct.
Damn it.
Yep. So, whatever. He stabs it. He grabs something else. He hits it with a wrench. He thinks he's killed it. And he's like climbing out, but the thing is about to kill him. And it's like, aha, I'm actually still alive. And it was going to cut him in half. But luckily, this reporter is a fucking power lifter because she pulls him out of there like a spring-loaded cannon.
But what did it even save him from? Because wouldn't it just do the same thing that it already did, graze his back a bunch of times?
No, because because now that he's pulling himself out of the elevator, it can come up and cut him in half.
Oh, okay.
Like it has done to so many people so far. But he gets out, and it's like, thank God, we're safe. Everything's cool. And then she goes back and she's like, oh, you're safe. But he's so beaten up that he can't even warn her not to do it. But then it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't kill her for reasons unknown. Doesn't matter. It's just because we need this trick ending at the end. Computer company owner shows up and he's like, he says, it was very sick. And he pulls a gun. They think that he's going to shoot them. Instead, he shoots the fucking elevator to kill it. Guess what? You can't shoot an elevator to death, as it turns out, even in this situation. And the fucking crazy cable whips out, grabs him around the neck, hangs him in the... I mean, this shot is so good.
It is so good.
So, I mean, as silly as all of this is, that shot rules. The lighting underneath him,
yeah,
everything about that is badass. It is so well done.
But man, like, also at this scene, you have this great shot of all three doors, with the middle one open, with him hanging in it, you know what I mean? And the people walk away, like, I wanted to see those doors shut. Were you bothered by the fact that we didn't see instead of like the walking away thing, I almost feel the ending would have been better if the doors just shut and it went to black right then.
Absolutely. It 100% should.
Yeah.
I mean 100%
that's
should.
Still not telling you anything, but like, what am I being told with the other?
I was expecting it was going to Sam Raimi up the stairs. I thought that while they were walking, they were going to walk down, and then it was going to go back into the elevator. He was going to be crucified in a fucking Jesus Christ pose with his arms extended. The wires were going to be coming out of him, and he was going to have his eyes open, and they were going to be glowing or something. And it was like he's part of the machine.
Yeah.
Like I thought
you really want these people to be part of the machines.
I mean, I want something cool.
Yeah.
I want this to be a cool story.
Anything to happen. Yeah.
I would like something interesting to happen in the movie. But unfortunately, we are deprived of that. I still think it's a good movie. I still think there's really good parts of it, and I do enjoy it, but it is criminally boring in parts, and the translation is sloppy, I think. I think that it was just done as a quickie release for video in the US, and I think it was probably a better movie in its original language, and there's a lot of competent shit going on in it, but there's also some very clear people like interfering. You know that the director was fired and then brought back and all that stuff. So there were some things that happened during the making of it that are the kind of things that make a movie fuck up.
It's also one of those movies where I just wonder how it ever got made in the first place, too.
How do you convince somebody to make a fucking killer elevator movie?
That's what I'm saying. Okay, I got a movie. It's got killer elevators. Oh, cool. Why are they killing people?
You never know.
I've got a movie with killer elevators. Yeah, and why are they doing... And so you've convinced somebody to totally bankroll your killer elevator movie without motive or plot or
absolutely,
or reveal or anything, and they're just like,
don't know, man.
I want killer elevators. I don't care where they come from.
It doesn't matter. None of it matters. Yeah, I don't know. You got me, man. But yeah, I would. This is definitely a watch for me. It's something that I own, and I own it for a reason because it's a classic, and there's definitely things that are to be enjoyed about this movie, but when you sit down and analyze it for a podcast, it definitely falls apart.
Oh yeah. It falls apart in my book.
Just in general.
Not in general,
course.
not even the podcast, but
yeah, I agree. Anyway, well, that's it. Thank you. Follow us, Funbox Monster Podcast, and visit coastcitycomics.com and all that stuff. And you are...
I am Matt Awkward, VHS Fiend on the Instagrams, and make sure you check out the Video Vagrants group on Facebook. And go to coastcitycomics.com and buy yourself a Funbox Monster Podcast t-shirt.
Do that.
Or come to Coast City Comics in Portland, Maine in person and say hi to us. Give us high fives. And
do that.
And bring us some Mountain Dews and stuff.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week with The Shaft, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Why not?
Unless we choose to do something different, in which case we're giving you all the Shaft.
Lest we change our minds. Awesome. Thank you.
Peace.
Good night.